What's happening, everybody? Off the Mike Sports Network here. The news that everybody expected in college football happened on Sunday, and will be officially uh, formally finalized as Lane Kiffin will be formally introduced to the public as the LSU head coach in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And this was not surprising. This was not shocking. Even hours before this happened, like the longer that this dragged on, I was ready to admit to myself that around, I'd say, right before Thanksgiving, that this was pretty much done. Like Lane Kiffin may have thought about it and may have not really made it up officially in his mind, but the longer that this went on and the longer that we dragged this thing out, and I understood they had a game to play, but you knew that something was going on here, and that he was probably going to leave Ole Miss. And Ole Miss, to their credit, had a pretty decent landing spot. Going with Pete Golding, their defensive coordinator, who's a big time recruiter for them and an up and coming coach in college football. And Mississippi guy, so I think that's actually a pretty good landing spot. But I want to talk about Lane Kiffin here for a second, because now that it's officially happened, I kind of vented a little bit on Sunday morning as we were waiting literally through all of Saturday. They played their game on Friday. We waited through all of Saturday into Sunday. They delayed stuff. Everything went out. And then, he does the awkward interview with Marty Smith. He releases something on social media. And let me actually read that to you guys right now on his social media. And this was at about noon Pacific time. So about 2 o'clock local time, Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern. It puts us up on his social media to his very wide amount of followers on Twitter X. Goes, after a lot of prayer and time spent with my family, I made the difficult decision to accept the head coaching position at LSU. I was hoping to complete a historic 6-season run with this year's team by leading Ole Miss through the playoffs, capitalizing on the team's incredible success and their commitment to finish strong, and investing everything into a playoff run with the guardrails in place to protect the program in any areas of concern. My request to do so was denied by Keith Carter. That's the Ole Miss athletic director, despite the team also asking him to allow me to keep coaching them so they could better maintain their high level of performance. Unfortunately, that means Friday's Egg Bowl was my last game coaching the Rebels. While I'm looking forward to the new start with a unique opportunity at LSU, I will forever cherish the incredible 6 years I spent at Ole Miss, and will be rooting hard for the team to complete their mission and bring a championship to Oxford. And it's signed Lane Kiffin. It was just like a note on Twitter. Okay. There's no other way around this. This was a fucking shit show. And it's the most Lane Kiffin way to go through this. Because, and I give credit to Kyle Bonagura, great writer for ESPN. He listed, and I think it's ranked. I don't even know where this is going to rank in terms of all the exits. He was tarmacked and, let loose, even though that technically there's been differentiating reports of, whether he was fired on the tarmac at LAX after losing, I think it was to Arizona State as the USC head coach. Al Davis and his overhead projector. He said, so that was 1, 2, 3, whatever the hell you want to call this one. The Knoxville riots when he left Tennessee to go be the USC head coach. Nick Saban didn't even let him coach the title game as his coordinator, so he went to FAU, and then FAU leaving that to Ole Miss. So he's had six different exits. The Al Davis overhead projector was the whole, him getting fired from the Oakland Raiders when he was a really young coach, like in his 30s, years ago. And that was kind of a mistake. And, I wanted to believe, and I said this in my earlier video on Sunday, I wanted to believe that this guy changed. I really did. I think, he still has a youthful energy, even at 50. He's done a lot of great things at really hard places to win. He's won at FAU. He's won at Ole Miss. He's done great things, and he's had to go through a bunch of trials and tribulations. Now he's a father and he's done all these things. He comes from a coaching family. His dad, Monty, a very accomplished coordinator in the NFL for years. And yet here we are. I listed you off 6 different times that he has had to depart a certain place for whether it was being fired, whatever. And here we are where this guy had the audacity to pin this on the athletic director, Keith Carter. Pin this on the athletic director and say, hey, the athletic director would not let me coach because I was going to leave for a rival school and go coach them. Why should Keith Carter give Lane Kiffin the satisfaction of being able to coach his university's football team, knowing full and well he's going to be gone in a month to go coach your rival? He's going to be a rival in your conference, and you're going to be facing him yearly, I think. I don't know how the SEC scheduling is going to work out. Why the hell would Keith Carter allow that to happen? Some people, again, will say John Sumrall. Hey, John Sumrall, he's leaving Tulane for Florida. Guess what? Tulane and Florida are not in the same league. John Sumrall is taking a leap up from the group of 5 to go to the SEC, and John Sumrall is a really good coach too. John Sumrall's staying at Tulane because the jump up, it's not directly affecting Tulane. Yeah, they're probably going to lose their players, but hey, it's a group of 5 school potentially going to the college football playoff, which is really historic. Lane Kiffin, if you really wanted to coach this team, why couldn't you be like Luke Fickell? Luke Fickell had an opportunity years ago to go coach Notre Dame, and he didn't do it. You want to know why? He stayed at Cincinnati. I understand that that's kind of similar to the John Sumrall thing. He stayed at Cincinnati, stuck it out. Granted, he lost in the playoff. And then ultimately he held out and got a job at Wisconsin. And you don't see him complaining. You don't see him, listen, and he got a second chance there at Wisconsin. And it kind of looked good up until they lost this past weekend in Minnesota. But it's just, I can't believe the audacity of this guy. Yeah, this probably isn't the worst exit of his career, which is saying a lot, by the way. I just listened, and thanks to Kyle Bonagura for that. That was a great piece of, content on Twitter because of all of the numerous exits. And we don't even know what the hell we're going to call this thing. But holy crap, considering the mess that LSU was in the first place with all the political nonsense and in the circumstances of firing Brian Kelly, I understand that LSU is a better job. And Lane Kiffin is well within his right to leave. But, and yes, this system of the way things are structured in college football is completely and utterly flawed. But for him to have the audacity to pin this on the system and pin this on his athletic director, it's one of the grossest displays that I've seen in a long time. It's like, if you want to leave, that's fine, okay? If you want to leave, go ahead. But that's your prerogative. You've got to live with the consequences of your actions. You can't coach. And I can't believe that so many people at ESPN, and I understand Lane Kiffin's got a relationship with Nick Saban. And, hey, Kirk Herbstreit's, kind of had a reputation for saying some pretty ridiculous things on the air in the last couple of years. Why should Ole Miss let this guy coach? To preserve a chance to win a championship? He's going to leave in a month with all their players, with probably a bunch of those players, and take them out of the portal and gut this roster. And then on top of it, he's taking a bunch of coaches from this team with him. Good on Ole Miss for kind of somewhat having a plan here and basically saying, Pete Golding, you want to be the head coach? Cool. And that's why I said I don't think Ole Miss is going to get left out of this thing, but they've kind of gotten put in a really impossible position. I'll tell you what, man. Listen, I'm an Ohio State fan, and they're the number 1 team in the country. Even though, we'll think about underdogs talking about in this whole thing, obviously the group of 5 team. If there's 2 group of 5 teams, if Virginia gets in as the ACC, that'll be kind of a neat little story. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, that are going to want to pull for Ole Miss. because, like I said, the whole circumstance of how this thing shook out, and it's going to be a new head coach. His first official game as the head coach, Pete Golding, is going to be in the college football playoff against whoever they play, and it's just this was a really jackass move from Lane Kiffin, and I think he's a great football coach, but for the love of God, man, like you could have just left. You didn't have to drag it out. It comes across as incredibly narcissistic. He made this all about himself, drew this thing out until the 11th hour, kept drawing it out. It was supposed to happen Saturday. It was supposed to happen. Then it was supposed to happen Sunday morning. It doesn't happen. He doesn't make it official until Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon. Okay, cool. But again, depend it on your athletic director. After 6 years with this university, they put their ass on the line for you to bring you back into the SEC. And the minute that you reach the pinnacle of this and you have an opportunity to do something for the first time in your career and you walk out the door, why the hell do you deserve the right to coach in that game? You made the decision to leave for a better job, which is well within your right. But hey, guess what? You can't coach. So if Lane Kiffin never gets to coach in a college football, think about that. If Lane Kiffin never gets to coach in a college football playoff game, think back to this day, or whenever you're watching, think back to November 30th, 2025, when he left Ole Miss for LSU and then completely blamed his athletic director for not giving his right. Again, all you had to do was say no to LSU. I know that would have been a hard thing to do. These are the choices you make in life, man. And like I said, just to pin it on the athletic director and pin it on the system, when at the end of the day, the one person who is responsible for this is the guy who made the decision to leave, and that is Lane Kiffin. So, the guy's a fraud, man. Good football coach, but he is a fraud. He's always been trying to frame you that he's this changed man and this good guy. And he's trying to make himself out to be the victim here. He ain't the victim. The system is flawed, but look who's benefiting the most from this. This guy's going to go make a shit ton of money from LSU in probably one of the best jobs in the country, and he left a college football playoff team to do it. That's ridiculous. And this is, like I said, the sixth notable exit of this guy's college career, and he's 50 years old. 6 exits like this. Exits, firings, whatever. That's how crazy we are at this thing. So I had to rant about this. I'm just annoyed, man. It's ridiculous what happened here. It's really, to me, honestly, one of the bigger black eyes on college football. Like, it's probably not the most embarrassing moment of this guy's career, but let's say he flames out there at LSU. He's going to be looking back on this and regretting this for the rest of his life. Had a chance to coach a team in the playoff. May not have won it, but who knows? He may never get to a playoff. He probably should, because LSU's a really good job and he's a really good coach. But it would almost be kind of poetic in some ways, just the way he handled this situation. So anyway, thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.